Hey there, and welcome to This Explainer. Look, if you're a local small business owner, we need to have a little street talk for a second. When was the last time you actually looked at your Google business profile? Honestly, if you're like most folks I grab coffee with, you probably set it up years ago, verified your address with that little postcard, and then completely forgot about it, right? It just became another dusty task on a never ending to do list. But here's the reality check: your Google profile is your actual, tangible digital storefront. And right now, for a whole lot of businesses out there, the lights are off, the sign is cracked, and the front door is locked shut.
So we've got to ask the hard question right out of the gate. How much revenue is that invisible storefront actively costing you? Because neglecting it, well, it isn't just a missed opportunity. It's not a neutral thing. It is actively repelling people who are literally trying to hand you their money. We need to look at what this is costing you and, way more importantly, how we can fix it today. So grab your coffee, settle in, because we're going to walk through exactly how to throw those digital doors wide open.
Okay, the data on this is absolutely staggering. Businesses that show up in the map pack, that coveted little block of 3 local listings right at the very top of a Google search, they earn a massive 126% more traffic than businesses just relying on a traditional organic website listing. I mean, think about your own habits. Almost half of all Google searches have local intent. If you aren't in that top pack, modern consumers simply cannot see you. You are virtually invisible.
And honestly, it gets worse if they do manage to find you, but your info is outdated. A whopping 62% of consumers will completely avoid your business if they find incorrect information online. Think about how frustrating that is from their perspective. Like if your hours are wrong because of a holiday, or they call an old, dead phone line that just rings and rings, more than half of those ready-to-buy customers are going to bounce straight to your competitor. And guess what? They're probably never coming back.
But hey, take a breath, because there is a massive silver lining here. It is shockingly easy to win your local market right now. Why? Well, because of what we call the competitor void. Get this. Only 35% of small businesses even have a Google business profile. And of the ones that do exist, over 11% haven't even been claimed. Your competitors are basically handing you their market share on a silver platter. There's just this huge void for you to step into if you just take a little bit of targeted action.
Okay, let's dive into this. To capture that market share, we just need a system. What we're looking at is an exact 3-phase digital blueprint that takes a static, forgotten listing and transforms it into an AI-driven growth asset. We're going to walk through building the entity foundation, then firing up the conversion engine, and finally preparing for the AI and data horizon. It's really all about going from zero to absolute local dominance without overcomplicating the whole shebang.
All right, phase 1, the entity foundation. In plain English, this is purely about making it insanely easy for Google to trust you. I mean, so easy they basically hand you customers. You start by perfecting your basic entity data, claiming and securing your profile. Seriously, kick out that old marketing agency or that former employee who still has manager access. Then you lock down your NAP data and you define exactly what it is you do by picking highly specific categories.
Now, I really need to stress this point on your NAP. That's your name, address, and phone number. It absolutely has to match what's on your website and other directories exactly. No exceptions. If you use street spelled out on your site and ST on your profile, or if you use some old tracking number on Yelp, Google's algorithm gets confused. Think of Google as this highly efficient but, very easily confused robot. When the robot gets confused, it drops your ranking. Inconsistent data is literally a primary trigger for losing visibility.
And that brings us to a major paradigm shift. The old SEO trap was all about chasing huge numbers of useless high traffic. You'd optimize for broad questions like, how does a heat pump work? And sure, you'd get lots of web traffic, but zero actual phone calls. The new SEO reality is entirely different. We are targeting commercial, bottom-of-the-funnel decision intent. We don't want traffic. We want transactions. We want the person searching for emergency AC repair near me at 2 a.m, standing in a puddle of water with their credit card in hand.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how you actually signal that bottom-of-funnel intent to Google. It really comes down to choosing a highly specific primary category. That right there is your absolute strongest ranking signal. Like, if you're a plumber, please do not list yourself as a generic contractor. Be a plumber. Fill out up to 9 relevant secondary categories and write these meaty 750 characters service descriptions that actually include your prices and search terms. You got to stop being generic and start being the very specific answer to your buyer's exact problem.
So once Google trusts you enough to rank you, we move to phase 2, converting the human. And this brilliantly illustrates the difference a complete profile makes. The contrast between a barren listing and a vibrant storefront is night and day. Uploading high-quality, square images of your exterior, pictures of your team, maybe some short videos, it absolutely matters. A complete visual profile yields a massive 70% increase in the likelihood of a customer actually visiting your physical location. It's the digital equivalent of flipping the lights on, putting out a welcoming sign, and unlocking the front door.
But pretty pictures only go so far. We need social proof. Enter the review conversion flywheel. Listen, reviews are not just some vanity metric to make you feel warm and fuzzy about your business. They are your primary conversion driver. Here's how it works. You send a direct link, the customer leaves a detailed review. And here is a massive insider tip for you. When that customer mentions the specific service they bought and the city they live in, Google's AI reads that semantic data. That tells Google you're the real deal, which ranks your profile even higher for decision intent, bringing in even more customers. It's like a perpetual growth machine. The hard data backing this up is just wild. 83% of consumers read reviews before ever stepping foot in your business. And if you can push past that magical 50 review threshold, you capture a jaw-dropping 266% more leads than businesses with fewer than 10. Every single additional review brings an average of 16 more phone calls. Think about that. If you aren't systematically asking for reviews, you are quite literally leaving thousands of dollars on the table. Now, a huge part of this phase 2 conversion is active engagement. And I'm going to give you a little friendly tough love here. You have to keep this profile alive. That means posting a real update at least once a week with a strong call to action, something like call now. It also means seeding your own Q&A section. Don't wait for users to ask if you have parking or if you take a specific insurance. Ask the question yourself and answer it thoroughly. Because if you don't, the internet crowd will answer it for you. And trust me, incorrect crowd answers will absolutely take hold and confuse your buyers. Let's move to and see how this builds into phase 3, the 2026 AI horizon. Look, AI is the big buzzword of the decade, for sure. But for local search, we can easily demystify it. AI isn't magic. It is just a highly efficient engine that feeds on clean data. And it gets that data directly from the structured information you just built in phases 1 and 2. So heading into 2026, your Google business profile is Google AI's ultimate ground truth database. When an active buyer asks an AI for the best highly rated emergency roofer near me, it doesn't just randomly crawl the whole internet to guess. No, it pulls straight from your flawless categories, your verified data, and your semantic review text. If your data is clean and consistent, the AI confidently cites you as the absolute best option.
And you absolutely have to be tracking this because the mobile conversion mandate is very real. 88% of local mobile searchers will call or visit within 24 hours of searching. The intent is immediate. You've got to track insights and use the built-in diagnostic tools on your profile. If you're getting a ton of views but low actions or no phone calls, your storefront is leaking. Maybe you need better photos or a stronger call to action in your weekly posts. Track the data, find the leak, and plug it.
So the crucial point is, this is where the rubber meets the road. You know the cost of the invisible storefront, and you've got the 3-phase architecture to fix it. Now it's time to lay out the execution matrix and pick up the shovel. You have a clear choice on how to actually execute this and get things moving for your business. Here is your straight talk binary choice. Option 1, the DIY baseline. You can absolutely do this yourself. You use the step-by-step workbook, spend maybe 2 to 4 hours on the initial setup, and commit about an hour a week to posting, responding to reviews, and updating photos. Simple. Option 2, the specialist advantage. You hand the whole shebang off to a specialist who handles the keyword copywriting, the deep technical data mapping, and the Q&A seating. Your only job? Pick up the phone when the increased call volume goes through the roof. So, what does this all mean? What's the bottom line here? Your Google business profile is no longer just some passive directory listing that you can set and forget. By combining rock-solid business data with high-velocity social proof, like those specific reviews and weekly photos, you are optimizing purely for buyers who are ready to make a decision right now. Do that, and your profile transforms into a relentless, completely free conversion engine that absolutely commands the local map pack. I want to leave you with this provocative thought. Take a look around at your local competitors. Honestly, most of them are sleeping on this, which means the void is wide open for you. Will you continue losing revenue to an invisible, outdated storefront, or will you take control and build your local conversion engine today? The choice is entirely yours, but the clock is ticking. Thanks for hanging out with me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.